Alright boys, how you all doing?
Good man.
Good.
Aye, all good.
Shite in it, I'm having to do it. Hearts are back winning, we've tried to avoid it. We've tried to avoid it for the last 10 days, man. We've got to go back to talking positively about the JTs because we're just flying. Let's just because it's on my lips, but let's review 79, episode 79, and talk about some of the highlights of some of the stuff we spoke about. Being 9 points clear with 18 points left, how we hadn't beat anybody in last year's top 4. We have to get to 67 points to make last 5 years average, 63 points to get to 4th. We were previewing St Mirren, Aberdeen, Dundee, Levy, Ross County and Hibs, and I think pretty much yes, I was winning like 8 points or something like that. And in the last 3 games, we've picked up 7 points, undefeated in our last 3, 1 away from home, 1 at home, and then get a entertaining draw yesterday at Dundee United. It's made us look like a right bunch of in it.
Well,
You think we can't even care what we're talking about?
It's almost like we didn't have a clue what's going on.
People would say we are petty sometimes, but it doesn't help that we kind of took a week off after the 2 wins. But it's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
we're just rubbish, man. We're gonna have to change we're not the Gary Mackay Stephen of podcasts anymore because we'll probably cover that later. But we need to think of a shite player and just name ourselves after him. We are the Pat Stanton of
Gary Mackay Stephen then that's fine. Let's just stick with Gary Mackay Stephen then, that's fine. I'm happy to stick with that. Well, I can't even remember what I was going to say there. I was going to say something, but no, I can't even remember. Right.
Probably something positive, so move on.
That is very true. Was it? I can't remember if it was something positive or not, but let's definitely move on. So, welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say every week, and as you'll have well known by now, our opinion miles off it every single week, as has been proved with our last episode. But all things are rosy again in the JT's garden. And to defend ourselves, to be fair, we do know what we're talking about a wee bit, because we highlighted that it'd been 100 and I think we scored from our 181st corner of the season, and now every corner's a goal for Hearts. So we fixed that for Robbie in the last episode. There we go, I've said it. We said that he needed to change shape and go to 4-2-3-1. Fixed that, back winning. Said he needs to play with the best players in our best positions. We fixed that, winning. Highlighted that we haven't won on a Wednesday night in the last 20 odd games or something. 3 wins in the last 20. We won on a Wednesday night. We said we haven't beat any of last year's top 4. Beat them, got them that out. Got them fucking battered. What else have we fixed this week? We won Ando in attendance. There you go.
I'm allowed to come to midweek games now, which is good.
There you go.
I think.
Yeah. Boys, we slide Tim. He's back scoring goals. And the big one, we've battered them all season long. We scored for the bench. Fuck. Easy. See? So we don't know what we're talking about. Don't talk about any of the other shit that we've got miles wrong, but just focus on the positives.
What are we fixing this week, boys? That's what I want to know.
I know it is a strange one. Like, so we've got Livingston at home in the next game in the league, but we've got St Mirren in the cup. And actually, I think London Hearts potentially shared some stats that show that we're pretty rubbish against St Mirren in the cup at a quarter-final stage. So,
cheers, Corbett. Thanks.
Let's get that put right. I'm the London Hearts. I'm just letting you know what they said. So,
passing the buck on to somebody else.
Exactly.
Like you.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Chuck something else under the bus. That's a Corbett special. Right, this week we'll review the last 3 games that we've missed. So we'll go St Mirren and Aberdeen. We'll talk about yesterday's game against Dundee United because it was mental. We'll go through some of the headlines of the week. We've got Kevin McKenna's as players. We've got Ando's quiz that we did last week. We'll preview the last 3 league games of the season and where we think we'll go. And we'll just talk about the bananas league that it is right now, because from 4th to 10th, there's only 5 points of a difference. So as it stands, potentially only have 3 derbies this year, because our rivals are absolutely fucking humpty, so we can discuss that and talk shite in between. Sound good to you boys?
Sure does.
Sounds perfect.
Nice. Well, Ando, what you been up to?
Nothing really. I've already told you what I was up to yesterday, but I'm not going to admit it live in the podcast. Just involved a heavy amount of drink up in Edinburgh without being up there for the football. I had a great old time. One thing is, I'm suffering today from herpes face. I was like, I've got a wee bit of a skin condition here on my nose, and there's a big bit of skin just flaked off my face and landed in my notepad. I'm quite upset about it. But
Well,
apart from that, I'm all good.
It'll tie in with your Six Nations behaviour, where you're up with all the Finleys and Anguses eating shortbread and drinking whiskey and Bankelks. It's what you fucking deserve.
Exactly.
Right, move on. Tam.
I've not even told you about the special pair of brogues that I bought.
Aye. Did your flare jeans on and your base London shoes.
Well, I didn't buy any flared jeans. I just got them at the cupboard from the early 90s, and because I'm that old, and they still fit.
Thomas, how's your week been?
It's been alright. Just again, I'm feeling the effects of drinking too much over the last couple of days, but it's fine. I watched the game yesterday, got up off the sofa, pulled a hammy, like everyone else. Just must be something to do with Dundee United, sorry.
One too many Capri Suns.
That's exactly it.
How did you pull a hammy getting off the couch?
Nah, it was just a wee joke because everyone got injured yesterday. But
right, I was going to say,
it doesn't really work when you explain it, like, but it's fine.
Right, Kev, what you been up to? Millwall at the weekend?
No. Couldn't get a flight. No.
You battered Danny Dyer and then battered that.
Exactly. No, I was on the golf course yesterday. And then caught the second half when I got back to the house. But
look at Tam trying to figure that out. Tam's trying to work out what I said.
I don't know what you said.
He's very confused. He's got a very quizzical look on his face.
I said, "Did you batter Danny Dyer and then try to fight her dad?" Is what I said.
Oh,
right. See,
I didn't know what that
we cannot.
I'm still trying to work it out. Even though
we cannot take turns each to ruin each other's patter. There we go. That's what we'll do. We'll cut in and ruin everybody's patter, right? Cool. Right. Well, Kev, proper naughty. Behave yourself tonight. Best behaviour. All right.
Try my hardest.
Right. Give your Kevin McKenna's as players. Podcasts away.
So, Kevin McKenna's players this week is actually in honour of Corbett's top. So I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with regards to players for this week. However, after seeing that absolute beautiful number that you are wearing tonight, those who are not able to see it because they're not on YouTube, it is, I believe it's the 1983 or something like that. 83, 84 retro shirt that Hearts are doing. They're doing 12 different shirts throughout the year, and it is the 83 shirt with the Alexander's advertising across the front. So, Tam, you are definitely out of being able to guess this one for this week. However, you know perfectly well I'm still coming to you at the end of the show. I was going to say the show.
You know what you said.
I know. As Corbett looks behind him to try and work out which particular year that shirt is actually from.
It's 83, cool. It says it up there.
So, in honour of that particular shirt, first one for tonight is born on Hogmanay of 1948.
Fucking hell!
And it wasn't me before you say anything, Ando.
Exactly, because you were 50 years before that, you old bastard.
Exactly. In total, 276 appearances for the club with only 3 goals. For all a great for Hearts, he is possibly a bigger great for another Scottish club. And again, a great for the club he supported as a boy, as he was brought up near Tynecastle. So that is your first one of the night. So, Tam, get yourself on Google. And the second one for tonight is he had 2 spells at Tynecastle. He is a Scottish Cup winner, scored 24 league goals for Hearts, and was known for his mullet.
Did he win the Scottish Cup with Hearts?
Yes, he did.
He did. Okay.
So that is your 2 Kevin McKenna's for this week.
Ramon Pereira didn't win the Scottish Cup, man.
He didn't have two spells either.
And I don't think he ever scored 24 goals. He might have been struggling to get 4, never mind 24. There you go.
Thanks, Kev.
Cheers.
Right, Ando, we trialled a new feature last week, or
We
the
did.
last time we podcast, which was coincided with Hearts getting beat, which is just a coincidence, by the way. We do like to podcast every week, but
Yeah, we were hiding last week.
we
Let's be
were.
honest.
Let's not kid on. Let's not kid on.
Right. Well, aye. Let's not say it's something it isn't. We were all definitely hiding. Right. So this is a variation on down, which I'm going to call Tam down, because unless he gets a good score this week, then that's
He's
that's
getting
going to be
relegated, is he?
He is, aye. We'll have to chuck him off and bring someone on that knows more. So then, what
I thought you were just calling me a there, to be fair, but that's fine.
Well, if they shoot this time, that's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
You read that however you want, Sunshine.
Talking about, sorry to jump in, but talking about somebody who knows more, where is Shanks?
He's
Still stateside?
I don't know. Shanks hasn't been on since episode 5 or something like that, so he's retired. So let's just move off.
We're advertising
off
for
of
a regular gadge. If anybody's interested that wants to join the podcast, there's a vacancy.
Didn't I say that, man? There's all sorts of lunatics are going to email you. Right.
They can't be any worse than Shanks.
Well, this is very true. Right, so what I've got is a list of players that meet a certain criteria. I think last week was the total number of different goal scorers against Rangers for some sort of defined period. It's very similar this week, and I've reduced the time frame down so that young Thomas probably has an idea of some of these. Right, so the list I'm looking for this week, and make sure that your hands are visible.
Are we doing the hands, Potter?
Aye, that's
I'll
better.
just so I can show that I got the long sleeve version of this top.
There you
It's a
go.
belter.
Do they even sell it in short sleeve?
Aye, I think so.
No, I like the collar on that, to be fair, but anyway, that's one for another time. So this week's list is scorers versus Hibernians since 2014-2015 season. Right, so it's fairly recent. It's a fairly small list. I thought last week's list was a little bit big. This list only has 18 players on it. So all competitions, or competitive games anyway, but all competitions. So scorers versus Hibs since 2014-15. And just to put Tam on the wrong foot, I'm going to go to Corbett first.
Is that the season that we came back up? Was that in the championship season? 2014-2015?
It would have been, aye.
Sam Nicholson.
Correct. 1 point to Corbett, over to Kev.
I will go with Sean Clare.
Absolutely correct. Tam.
Aaron Hickey.
Right, over to Corbett.
Principal Abbin.
Correct. Over to
Kev. Our favourite guy who blocked us on Twitter, Uchi Ikepezu.
Yeah, that's correct. Tam, I can't see your hands.
Sorry.
But give me a guess.
Alan Mostert.
Absolutely right. Over to Corbett.
Jamie Walker.
Yep.
Connor Washington.
Correct. Tam.
Kel Lafferty.
Correct. Back to Corbett.
The shitest midfielder that we ever had to fucking lay our eyes on for the past 30 years, Don Cowie.
Correct. Over Kev.
Christoph Berra.
Correct, Kev. That's a strike. He hasn't scored.
Don Cowie.
Oh, it was Cowie put it in. Aye, damn.
Okay. Over to Thomas.
Peter Haring. Actually, that was chopped off, wasn't it?
No.
No.
Well, you want to give me a final answer?
Aye, go for Peter Haring.
Correct. Well done. Right, Corbett, you've fucking done yourself a point there, Sunshine. But over to you, Corbett.
Concalves.
He's mugging Calves, correct. We'll go back to Kev. We'll give him another shot because it's only fair.
Bozanic.
Ollie Bozanic, correct. Tam.
It's Ollie Liebenstead.
No, he hasn't, but he has now. So, sweet. Well done. Over to Corbett, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 answers left.
Stephen Naismith.
Correct. Over to Kev.
Shit.
3 answers left.
It's a struggle.
Dead air is a crime, Kev. You got
Mhm.
an
I know
answer. I
it's-
will
I know
move
it's
on. I
absolutely
will move
terrible.
on.
I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. Aye.
You're out. Well, you're not out, but I'll give someone else a chance. Tam, who's next? 3 answers
I'm
left.
struggling enough.
It's easy for me to say this because I'm looking at the answers, but my God, there's 2 fucking obvious ones that everybody's missed. That I'm sure Corbett's got them because he's Mr. Cool Cucumber. Look at him sitting there.
No, I'm not being a
Milinkovic
cool.
score?
What'd you say, Tam?
David Milinkovic.
Didn't score against Hibs. All right, okay, that's you've shot and you've missed. Corbett, you got a guess?
I'm going through all the games that we played. So what did said Sam Nicholson said Wabbin. Then Jamie Walker scored. That was a 1-1 draw. Then Ozturk scored. That was a 1-1 draw. Then whenever we played them in the cup, who scored the goals that game? Sam Nicholson and was it Arnold Jim?
Arnold Jim is a correct answer.
Bollocks,
Well
I had
done.
that one.
We have 2 answers left, Kev.
Callum Patterson.
Incorrect. Didn't score
Really?
within the 14 to 15 onwards season, so you
No,
are
just-
out of there.
I'm out.
Tam, 2 answers left. 2 answers left. And I'm right, I'm not going to give you a okay, fuck it, I'm going to give you a clue.
Oh,
The 2 players
shit.
that are left, are the 2 most recent scorers against Hibs.
Aye,
got them both.
same.
Stupid bastard.
Whiten.
Craig Whiten, correct. And Corbett, you want to fill in the blanks?
Our beautiful man that's back in amongst the goals, Leon Boyce.
There you go. Absolutely on the money. So well done. You got all 18 players. So in reverse order, Kev, you are propping everybody up with 4 points. Tam, mid-table, with 6 points. And Corbett, you've blown them out the water with 8 points. So well done.
And just
That
as a
was
side note,
solid
to our-
performance, boys.
and a side note to our rivals, that shows you how fucking insignificant you are to us that we forgot the goal scorers in the Scottish Cup semi-final that knocked you fuckers out, and we never even paid attention. That's how fucking easy it is against you. Right, move on.
There we go.
That's another one for you, Tam.
Aye, there you
I
go.
did-
Another one.
To be honest, that's staying in. The sentiments are correct completely.
Don't worry, Tam. I'm writing them all down. It's fine. There we go.
Right,
Tune in next week, folks.
cool. Headlines this week. We've obviously returned to the Gull and Sand Dunes for training. Don't know what happened between Wednesday and Saturday that annoyed Robbie so much that he made them go train at the Sand Dunes. Anybody? Any guesses as to what the fuck happened?
Well, I asked the question in the group chat, and this is the problem for me yesterday with being out and about all day, is that I didn't get to watch the live footage of the game, and I didn't. The highlights package on BBC was absolutely guff as well. So I'd thought when I seen all these players dropping like flies, or when I seen you talking about it in the group chat, it was Dundee United being a bunch of dirty bastards, but it's no. I think one of them was down to a bad challenge or a head knock or whatever it was, but the rest of them, fuck knows. Is it just a case of everybody starting to fail at the same time? That seems unlikely, though.
I don't know.
Could just be bad luck.
Kev, has there been anything in the press about the severity, any of the injuries, or is it just minor sprains and knocks and he'll be back for the cup?
It seems to be that it's mainly just minor, as you rightly say, sprains, knocks, just little niggles kind of idea. I think the one that the club are worried about, when I say worry, is just the fact it was a concussion element, was Cochrane, because he had his head knock, and then I think he played on, because I missed the first half, but I think he played on from what I've seen in the club highlights package, and then he went off afterwards. So I think it's just that might be the one player that they do have sort of concerns over. Everybody else, I think, from what I could see anyway, I think the Devlin one might be him out for 2 weeks, because that's the usual phrase from the club nowadays. He's out for 2 weeks, but that actually means 6.
2 months.
Aye. So from that point of view, let's just keep our fingers crossed that the others are actually all right.
Did they get booked, Devlin, by any chance? On
No.
Saturday before they
No, he
got
didn't.
injured?
No, he didn't get booked to the weekend. No,
Well, there we go. So I think he's 2 bookings away from suspension, isn't he?
he is.
Yeah.
And there was something on Twitter. I think it was at Heart Stats, or no, in fact, no, it was wee Simon Klasky. Called it out saying that I put your money on thingy. What's his name? Devlin to get booked because he'd be able to serve his ban before the Hibs game. And someone called him out for that's actually wrong. But
Aye, he's one.
the
It's 2 more bookings, but at least this way he can be injured until the Hibs game, which is good. But aye, it was a bit. Obviously, we'll dive into and we'll review how the game went or whatever on Saturday. But it was mental. We should just play Dundee United every game. We would get so many sponsors to the Scottish game if it just played Hearts versus Dundee United every week, because the games have been outrageous. What was it, 2-0 at Tannadice the first time, but it was like end to end. Then 5-2 at Tynecastle, or was it 5-3? Whatever it was,
2.
it was a classic. And then 2-2 at the weekend. We had injuries, the head knocks, penalties, Hearts scoring for corners. Had everything you want. We have everything you want. So, let's hope that they're back for the weekend, because obviously St Mirren in the cup now becomes the cup becomes a priority now for me. Just with home tie, possibility to go to Hampden, possibility to get to a final with pretty much touchwood Ford being tied up, so that would be pretty decent. Speaking of the cup, what are we, 6 days away? Adult tickets £15, kids tickets a £5. This is a game, quarter-final, it's Saturday night. This has got to get as close to a sellout as it possibly can, innit?
you'd think so, like.
Surprised it's actually. I looked at the tickets availability on Thursday morning when they went out to general public, and there was loads left. I was actually quite surprised.
But to be fair, that's not. I don't think you read anything too much into that. If I'm being honest, it was still 10 days away for the game, and people are reactive into it. If Hearts had lost 2 or 3, then I'd be a bit worried. But we were winning and playing better and in a better formation and stuff. So I've got no worries that the game will sell out.
I think you'll also find that because the game is a Saturday night, you might find that families want to go. So, generations, i.e., Grandad maybe doesn't go to the game every week or every month, but it's a cup game. The fact is that his laddie and maybe his laddie's, the sort of 3 generations go to the game. They all want to sit together. So the folk who have got season tickets simply haven't actually bought their season ticket for that game.
Well, hopefully they're not sitting in G, because that sounds fucking shite. I don't want to be sitting next to anybody's granny and granda in their wains. Sit in section A, didn't sit up in G.
No, didn't sit in G at all, man. Because I had to sit next to Kevin, his brother, on. I had to sit next to Kevin, his brother, on Wednesday night. Kev's brother fucked off at half time, never came back and left him. That tells you how shite section G is.
I think
Kev's patter is crap.
Nothing to do with that. He thought he upset you by saying that Boyce was actually on his way out.
Then, to be fair, I smiled and nodded my head. But your brother's a lunatic.
It's the easiest way. It's the easiest way to put it, Kev. Don't want to break it to you, but
it's the nicest thing MD said about him in a long time, to be honest with you.
Absolute lunatic. Right. Other things that we're talking about: Andy Halliday contract extension. Again, it's a who really cares moment in it. It's not ineffective. That's not what I meant. I mean, it's
not setting the heather alight, but it's one of those. It's one of those ones. I'm glad he's signed. The others on the podcast who aren't here today will say that they're really not plussed about the whole situation. But I'm quite glad to have him on board. His contribution has been all right. He's a good utility player, and I hate that phrase because it's wanky. But I'd rather have him than some other unknown quantity.
I get signed Topsfield and free tickets, so he can stay. He can stay as long as he wants. It means I don't have to worry about my loyalty points, so that'll do me.
There you go.
But he's one of those players that what he does in the park is kind of, it's important. But I think that his value to the squad is in the changing room and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's one of those players that you can. He came on Saturday and must have played probably 3 positions. Do you know what I mean? And I think he was joking and saying the other day that striker's the only position he's not played, or in goals this season is the only position in the park he's not not played yet. So yeah, not too buzzing about it, but I'm also not too bothered about it, if I'm being honest. As long as that's not the sum total of our business in the summer is signing Andy Halliday on a contract extension, then I'll be pretty chuffed where we are. Talking of the Aberdeen game, obviously it was the first game of our ticket drive, and since we've announced it there, so before, I think we don't know if we'd made it public yet about the club's involvement in the last episode or whatever, but basically, obviously, for a while we'd been in contact with the club, just telling them about how amazing the response to the ticket drive was, and trying to see if we could if they could get involved, because obviously when I reached out to them, we were sitting at like 3,000, and then it ended up at 7,500. So the club obviously matched the donation in value for tickets, which has resulted in us being able to have a pot of money to give tickets away for Aberdeen, Livingston, Hibs in the 2 games after the split. So Wednesday was the first day of us being able to hand the tickets out. And Tam and that, it's just class watching all the videos in it. Like, we got the wee video for Broomhouse Primary with all the wee boys saying how amazing it was and all that. It was class.
Yeah, brilliant. Like, and even like being at the game, you could tell like for a Wednesday night game, it was a lot busier than the Roseburn than it would have been had it been just an extra 100 tickets. But just seeing all those wee pictures, you could frame that wee one of them all just sitting at the front of the barrier, like looking onto the pitch, all like buzzing. Like that just was the one for me. And then obviously I got involved on Thursday night, and we went and dropped some tickets off. Big shout out to Rab and Gary Locke again for being there and just being gorgy as fuck, essentially. But that was great as well.
Gary Locke is gorgy as fuck, isn't he?
He is good, like. He is good.
Yeah, absolute diamond there, boy. Like, how many times did you ask him to sign your packed lunchbox?
Mate, I've got all my memorabilia. I had my wee Hearts teddy bear.
Gary, can you sign my quavers?
Gary, can you sign my tits?
You want to see them?
He's a good guy.
No wash since.
So, obviously, the next one, we didn't do it for the Cup game. Obviously, with the ticket prices that we have for the Cup, they are more than sort of fair for the club. If you ever like the club, have obviously stuck to the pricing structure for Livingston. So the next one is the Livingston home game, where again we've tied in with Edinburgh Credit Union, I think they are, who help support families that are struggling financially. Plus we're tying back in with a couple of schools and stuff. So it's great to see. And again, from all us on the podcast, we just want to say thank you to absolutely every single person that's donated. You have no idea the difference that you're making, not just to the families in that day, but to us. It's like such a buzz to be able to hand the tickets out. So Wednesday I handed out tickets, I handed out tops, scarves, footballs, everything to wee guys and families that otherwise couldn't afford to get it. And it's amazing. And we would never be in that position without all you guys that are amazing and back the podcast. So thanks for everybody on the podcast.
100%.
Good. Right. Any other highlights or headlines for the week? Boise back in amongst the goals. Seen someone, we were talking about it earlier, Ando, what is it, about 37 goals or something in 71 games or something like that he scored now for the famous?
I think 71 games, 33 goals. Aye. So that's across all competitions. So what's that? 31, whatever it is. 71 point, near enough half a goal a game. And that's the best we've had in a long time.
Do you know what I liked about his goal on Saturday? Is he's almost scored a very, very, very similar goal on the Wednesday, where, and again, it's what we'd spoke about, not to take credit for it, but I've noticed as well with like Ellis Sims, they were shooting, and Ellis Sims played very much between 18-yard box and 18-yard box. Like, he never ventured wide. He was focal point. He just played through the middle, got his header against Aberdeen that he probably should have and probably could have done better. He had the sliding tackle for Bates, who had the amazing sliding tackle to stop him from the tap in. He had a couple of beautiful touches and turns and stuff on Saturday as well. And it's the same with Boyce. You notice that difference for Boyce is like when it's instinctive, and he doesn't have time, he's deadly. But when it's, when he's maybe got that split second to think about what he's doing, he can get himself in a wee mix. So the finish on Saturday is an absolute thing of beauty. I don't think we should underestimate how good that is. Boyce, we've said it before, we said it last year, and it sort of faltered with 8 league games left. Are we finally going to be able to say we have a striker that scored 20 league goals in a season?
I think it's beyond doubt now. And I know he's went through a wee bit of a dry patch, but the point that you've just made, Corbett, has chewed Kev's ear off. And then I spoke to him about that exact point. When it's instinctive, he absolutely gets the job done. Then looking at the opposition that we've got coming up, then I think you'd like to think that against especially the next 3 teams, we've got enough in the midfield to be able to get him that service where he should just. I can see him now that he's got the monkey off his back. Because I think before he hadn't scored in 7 games. I think it was.
Yep.
Something of that order. Now that he's got this one, he's gonna hit a vein of form again. He will easily go past 20.
How many is he on at the moment?
He's on 15, I think.
That all competitions, it will be.
Yeah, 15 in all comps, yeah.
9 in the league, I think it is.
But the point being, we've not had a 20 goal a season striker. Forget the league. We've not had a 20 goal a season striker since John Robertson. Lafferty came close. I think he fell short by 1. He hit 19. So if someone's going to take that title, you want it to be Boyce because his contribution is brilliant.
Aye, and again, look, it's dead easy. And stats are dead weird. I mean, we pulled the stats. I know people were raving about how good they thought Gary Mackay-Steven did against St Mirren, and then again against Aberdeen. You look at the stats, and none of them back any of that up. In terms of, I shared the stuff that I was sharing with you stat-wise from the scout report thing on Wednesday. The 1 attempted dribble, 5 unsuccessful, no track backs, no tackles won, no shot assists, only one pass successful into the opposition half, all that sort of stuff. But compared to what he normally is, he looked like he was having a good game. And the Boyce stat thing, no scoring in 7, it's fine. You say that on paper and you think, all right, striker out of form. But then you take into consideration that for 3 or 4 of those games, he was playing as a winger. You know what I mean? Like we were sticking on that silly formation of trying to put him and play him out wide. We brought him into the 10 against St Mirren. He's contributed. He's contributed again against Aberdeen, and then he's on the score sheet yesterday. So I'm the same with you. I'm absolutely rooting for him to break that 20 because he's the one striker for the last wee while that genuinely probably deserves it, if you know what I mean.
Definitely. The only thing you would say, like in comparison to that, is that you look at Barry Mackay, right? His contribution to the team so far this season has been absolutely phenomenal. And he's got fuck all goals at all. But obviously he's playing in his right position most of the time anyway. What was it, 28 games, 0 goals. But if Boyce still contributes well to the play, even when he's not scoring, that's the beauty of it. So it's like that whole 7-game spell where he wasn't scoring is not something you worry about because he was still contributing very, very well in those games anyway, because he's such a workhorse all over the park.
We just come to terms with the fact that Barry Mackay is just never going to score for Hearts.
He's never going to score.
No. That's just a thing. We just got to come to terms with it.
Actually,
I think it's like oh, sorry.
Kim what? Well, I don't want to. I'm not reading tea leaves or anything like that here, but I reckon, hopefully, we're gonna. Well, yes, we are gonna go through in the quarterfinal of the cup. Inevitably, at some point, we're gonna have to play Rangers or Celtic, right? There is going to be a critical situation, and Barry Mackay will, if it's not the winner, he will score a critical goal in the cup against Rangers or Celtic, and I'll bet he's all a pint on that.
Well, I'll take it. But he's an absolute wizard. He's an unbelievable football player. We're very, very, very lucky to have Barry Mackay. Right, Kev, we'll go through them one by one. Obviously, we'll not go Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville Monday Night Football stuff here, but obviously we shat the bed after we beat St Mirren 2-0 and decided not to podcast because we were too scared to do it. But you start from the St Mirren game. We obviously first thing to talk about is a change of shape. We obviously went to the 4 at the back and instantly played a million times better, didn't we?
We did. Try to think back to last Saturday now, but we did play a hell of a lot better. I don't know if there'd been like a rocket up their arse, or if it just was just genuinely the way in which we actually set up to start the actual game. But what I was impressed with was the first 10 minutes of the game at Paisley was we actually looked like we wanted to control the game. We wanted to have a high tempo. We wanted to actually start the game in a positive frame of mind, which, let's be honest, there's a number of games this season where we haven't. Even games that we've actually went on to win, we've still not actually came out of the blocks. We've been very slow and very lethargic. Whereas last week in Paisley, I thought we actually started the game really, really well. I thought we looked comfortable on the ball, and we'll go on to talk about the 2 challenges that could have possibly resulted in 2 red cards. They had don't get me wrong, they had a contributing factor in regards to the way in which we then performed afterwards. But I thought that up until that particular point of the boy getting sent off, I thought we looked really, really good. I thought we controlled the game and we played the game at the pace we wanted to play. I don't know if that's got anything to do with the actual change of formation, but I think it's just an element of mindset of changing and going from the off.
Yeah, and I think, like you said before, I don't think the philosophy of the team's changed. It's still keep the ball, move it, keep passing, all that sort of stuff. But there's a difference when you play with that with tempo. Do you know what I mean? Like, we passed with purpose.
Yep.
And I think the formation helps in the fact that you've got the 4 lines of players, so to speak. You've got your back, you've got your 2, you've got your 3, you've got your 1. You've got phases of play. You can play your triangles, you can have overloads, you can play in and around the space type thing. And I just think it gets the best out of Benny and Devlin in the middle of the park. I think it gets your Mackay, your GMS, your Boyce, your whoever in the right areas where you want them to be. And it gets Ellis Sims up front where we want him to be, because he's a total. His work ethic is as good as Boyce's in terms of it's a bit different. It's more physical because of the way we play, but he's a constant nuisance. He's always in and around the player's face, the opposition's faces, and all that sort of stuff. Ando, there's a bit of an elephant in the room when it comes to the fact that Craig Halkett obviously comes back from injury for the St Mirren game, and we have went undefeated since there. I think I've seen the stats. Was it we'd only lost something like 2 games or something, maybe 3 games this season when Craig Halkett started, and we've only won 3 games or something like that when he hasn't. So he's pretty important to the team, in Ando.
Aye, 100%. I think the lad just gets it as well. Sorry to sound like Shanks and going off on a bit of a weird point here. Is like I somehow get, when I look at Craig Halkett these days, it's like he just seems to be Mr. Hearts. Then again, what it is, it's like he just seems to put more on the line, I think, than any other player. Like, and that's not to say that like Gordon and John Suter, obviously, and even Boyce, other players don't put it on the line, but he seems to absolutely fight tooth and nail for every single thing that happens for him on the park. I think that's the critical difference between him and some of the other players that we've got. And I think maybe that's just the X factor that he brings to the team that's helping us carry through the results some of these times. It's like I know the highlights package on the BBC the other night wasn't that great, and I didn't get to see the full game. But from what I did see of the highlights, it was like he was absolutely perfect. Never put a foot wrong. And that's always the story when it comes to Halkett. When have you ever seen him had a really, really, even just a moment of madness or even a shite game? Doesn't it happen?
Aye. And the other thing that I think, like what Kevin spoke about in terms of the formation and the tempo, one thing I have noticed that's made a difference since we've had Halkett back and we've went to the 4, it allows John Suter to push and drive forward. Your John Souttar scores in the Aberdeen game, but he's stepping out of the back four and he's going past Devlin and Benny and stuff and driving and adding another body into the middle of the park and Halkett tucks. Do you know what I mean? And it's a good balance between the teams. So obviously Kev touching it there, Tam, but we can't not talk about it. I actually thought that what we're about to talk about was the only two things that the ref actually got wrong in the whole game. I actually felt he handled the game pretty well at St Mirren, but both those challenges are red cards, aren't they?
100%, to be honest. And the only reason they really, even that first challenge, well, the second challenge even happens is because the play's allowed to carry on and the boy keeps the ball for the going out for a throw-in and then mispasses it type thing. So, but honestly, I had the pay-per-view on and you should have heard the St Mirren fans, because you know how sometimes you can hear them and they're booing and like, what's the ref there and that. But see when you see that back, both of them could have been straight red straight away. But I don't know if there's some rule that you can't go back on something or whatever, but he took his time with it, the decision as well, to be fair.
Aye, it was a shocker. And to be fair, we'd fucking boo anybody as well. That's what you get. Do you know what I mean? I fucking boo Hearts players when they've done something well. Do you know what I mean?
So you boo me on this podcast as well. So
very true. So I've not got a problem with that. But like you said, it was a bit strange in the situation. It's one of those things when you're talking about VAR, you're not really sure what would happen there. Did they pull it back for the original foul and issue the red card for that? And then, but the thing that really baffled me was the fact that it wasn't even a booking, the GMS one. And that, when I know stills and slowing it down make everything look really bad, but it was an absolute shocker. It was an absolute shocker. So again, was a bit we're lucky that both of them got back up and played on.
Surprising thing for me was the fact that the boy Robinson didn't actually think either of them was a foul. I'm like, what game is he watching?
But he's
sums him up, man. Exactly.
He's a fucking idiot.
Right. Fuck him, exactly. Right. But I can't believe we've got however long into the podcast and we've not even spoke about it yet. Cammy Devlin scored his first ever Hearts goal. We never even spoke about it. We've not even spoke about it yet, but we'll come to that one in a wee minute. First, obviously, Ando, we played very, very well first 45, but obviously didn't score. We won 0-0, but played pretty well. Then we made changes and we brought the big man on, played him up front, and pretty much instant difference in terms of where we are. He obviously, it was him that scored the first goal, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on Sims, Ando? Have you been impressed?
Yes and no. So yes, in the sense that when he first came, of what was it, 2 goals in his first 2 games or something like that, averaged out as. I'm impressed with the number of goals that he's scored in the very little games, numbers that he's played, but there is something wrong there. Right, and that's going to sound really, really shit. I don't mean to say that there's something wrong, that it's tragic, but there's a reason we've got him on loan, if that makes sense, right? So his finishing leaves something to be desired. It's like if you consider him and Boyce, from the little that I've seen, and bear in mind, I reserve the right to change my opinion on this entirely because I thought Boyce was shite for the first 17 games that he played for us. Is like his killer instinct and his finishing just wasn't there. But obviously Boyce has struck gold because me and him had a chat and everything's cool now. I don't know if it's going to take for me to get on Sims back before he actually starts being able to finish the ball properly. I think his movement's good. His hold-up play is okay. I think he probably needs to work a little better with the ball at his feet. And his final shot on goal, I think, needs improvement. If he could tighten up on those 2 things, I think we'd have an absolute gem. The only thing is, we've only got him for another couple of weeks, 8 or 9 games left or whatever it is. There's probably not enough time for him to develop his game to that state, but I think he is helping out with goals. He is a target man. So for what we brought him in to do, I think he is delivering. So it's a thumbs up from me so far. But again, I reserve the right to change that.
Aye, and I think you nailed a couple of things. Some of the issues that we have with Sims there is the fact that I don't think he is a target man. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think that's part of his game. But
It could be because he's big enough. That's
I
probably
think
what I'm getting at.
yeah, and that's me not criticising what you're saying. I just think that's a sort of issue or a byproduct of the Scottish game. You get somebody tall that plays up front, your instant reaction is to shell balls at him and hope that he can hold it up. And I think our little slump coincided with that. You know, you seen him at his most dangerous, like the goal against St Mirren. It's sliding him in, just putting him in a channel, letting him get shots away. He's causing bother there. That's where he's getting his goals from. And then during that wee sort of slump, we were just basically just shelling balls at him and hoping that he could, he'd most of the time, because he was playing 3-4-3, he's got two centre halves on him, sometimes three, depending on the shit. And you can't really do anything with that. But we've got people closer to him by having Boyce in the 10, all that sort of stuff, which is cool. Kev?
I wholeheartedly agree with Ando. He's definitely not the finished article. I think the interesting question is, would you take him for a full season next year? Because I think I would.
Yeah, I would as well. Yeah,
100%. Based on his goal per game return, 100%, absolutely. Because let's not elaborate the point. Yes, is the answer.
But I think again it highlights another very smart outlook from the club in terms of going for these loans, because let's be honest, who currently in England for the big clubs is a young English striker that's came through the academy that's getting game time? Do you know, it's going to be nigh on impossible for Ellis Sims to break into the Everton side. So it then becomes his priority. What does he want to do? Hearts look like we're potentially going to be in Europe next year. Does he want to be playing European football, having a bash, or does he want to sit and play in the under-23s with Everton until his contract runs out and then go to Barnsley or fucking Luton or something like that? Do you know what I mean? Which is fine. But so he gets his goals, good finish. He did well when he hit the bar as well. Like you could see that he had confidence. He had a very similar situation yesterday as well, where you see it where he dinked it over the defender's head, turned him, went pure Dennis Bergkamp on him, dinked it to his head, and then the guy made a great block type thing as well. And then obviously the Australian Gary Locke breaks his duck for the famous, actually quite a mild celebration. I fully expected him to be in with had pyro or something in his socks and literally get in amongst the Gorgie boys skiing at that. But took his goal well, didn't it? And that's exactly, Robbie was spot on after the game, that's exactly where he needs to be, isn't it? That's where we need Cammy, Devlin and Benny. We need that opportunity for them to start scoring goals that'll help the team.
It was also a forward pass from Benny.
Yep, it was.
Maybe that should have made the headline news.
Very true. I like that Cammy started the move and finished the move himself, which was very, very decent, which is good. So overall, very impressive with St Mirren, and I'm going to shock all of our listeners but it shouldn't be a shock because I've said it loads of season, but Robbie deserves massive praise and credit for it. Robbie saved his job last year, and that's no an exaggeration. Saved his job last year after the whole Brora Queen of the South debacle, because he changed the shape, changed the formation, basically listened to what the fans were moaning about, the fans were saying. The fans have been moaning and kicking off and demanding that we stop playing the formation that isn't working and we start playing the players in our best positions that are get the best players in the park. And he did it. And again, we now look like we're going to have a wee spring in our step going into the tail end of the season. Ando, you're smirking. Yes, no, maybe so.
I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, but I was just thinking, it's like there's a bit of a disconnect between what you've just said and some of the stuff that I read on our group chat, and I look at it and I go,
"The group chat's not the podcast. That doesn't matter."
No, it definitely isn't. But it's not even the stuff that you're overtly saying in the group chat. It's just like, I know how your head works now because I've known you that long, right? I'm going, he's saying these things, but I know that all it takes, man, is
Saturday night. Saturday night. Hearts go out on Saturday night. then
That-
my outlook
Exactly.
will change.
That cup stick is still there. That cup
I
stick will
know.
be getting batted
It's like-
about like.
I just know that Robbie Nielsen's sitting listening to this on a Saturday night. He's like his missus is sitting there or whatever. They've opened a nice wee bottle of wine and toasting the result and all that. He's like, bought myself another week. Corbett's not coming after me.
Corbett's chill.
Aye, exactly. That's his drive, right? And like we've seen this already for the amount of things that he listed at the start of the pod, then that we've spoken about that he's fixed, right? That's just it's just the way it goes. That's why I was smirking. No, because I wanted to steam in with a point. That's what I was thinking.
What stays in the group chat or goes in the group chat stays in the group chat.
You're
That's
fucking right. I made a couple of jokes in the last 48 hours that were a bit controversial. Let's never speak about them again.
Right. So then we moved on Wednesday. Tynecastle under the lights, as we'd highlighted on social media, not because we love being negative Nancy's, but we have been pretty rubbish under the lights for a while. I think 3 wins in our last 20, wasn't it? So
Aye, exactly.
But we finally did to Aberdeen what we should have been doing to Aberdeen all season long because they are fucking terrible, Tam.
I've never seen an Aberdeen side so bad, like in the last 10 years. Like, it doesn't even make sense that when you look at their squad on paper, that's a total Hearts thing to say though as well. The squad on paper is decent, but they're just shite. We had that for long enough, didn't we? So, but they actually looked just nothing about them. Jim Goodwin's in for a fucking tough turnaround there to try and get that right.
And again, I didn't even know, but Ramirez maybe because he scores a few goals, but he's fucking humpty on Wednesday.
Absolute
And
shite bag and all.
All I could think about, and Kev, I seen that you'd engaged in some of the conversation about it, but all I could think about watching on Wednesday was we attempted to sign Gallagher and Bates. Thank the fucking Lord we never.
Is that right?
Aye, we were in for
Fucking
both of them.
hell.
Bates,
I'm glad that never happened.
I'm honestly, Bates is the worst centre half in the league.
Oh,
Out of all teams.
there's a possible debate stroke argument there.
Right, go for
Who
it.
else?
Go for it then, Kev.
All right, present your
Porteous.
case.
Porteous is a decent player, man. Take the Hearts classes off.
Okay, there's a difference, Kev. There's a difference. Porteous is a wanker, but he is still good in that position, whether you like it or not.
Very accurate. I just think Gallagher.
Wasn't much of a debate there, Kev.
No. I mean, what I'm going to just let me finish, Tam. Let me finish. What I'm going to say is, I think the issue that Aberdeen have with those two centre halves is very similar to the issue that we had, where you've got effectively we've now got Halkett and Suter, but when you lose Suter and you think of some of the players that we've had Halkett playing alongside, that's had an impact on him. And you think of some of the shite that we've had, that Halkett's had beside him in a back four or in a three, he's actually had to cover the shite that he's been playing aside. And that has then had an impact on him. I think that's exactly the same situation with regards to him, because Bates is absolute garbage. But I personally don't rate Porteous, and I know Hibs fans who say exactly the same thing.
Aye, and to be fair, Porteous, he's going to get his move to Stockton pretty soon in the summer anyway. He'll make a great captain. He'll make a great captain for them. So following in
the Machine 11.
Aye, following in the footsteps of other famous Hibs heroes, as they say, or as Gary O'Connor likes to say, it's all just water under the fridge, right? So as we go Wednesday night, same setup, but big man came in and went up front. But I thought we were brilliant from the first whistle to the last. I thought we put Aberdeen under loads and loads of pressure. Made Scott Brown, who, in as much as he's an absolute cock and we like to rip him, but Scott Brown was an absolute pain in our arse the first game and the second game. Ran the midfield, ran the show, set the tempo for Aberdeen. And I think it spoke volumes that he was fucking hooked off 65 minutes into the game. And if you're driving, pull over, put any heavy machinery down, the got booked as well. I was like,
Did he?
what? He got booked. I was like, what
Sorry
the
for
fuck? What is the
I must
World
have went
Cup?
for a piss at that point.
I was
Mental.
like, how has that happened? He actually got booked. So, Kev, what do you find the most impressive thing about the Wednesday result?
I think so. Wednesday night's game was possibly the best performance at home this season, and I think what made it the best game and best performance this season is the fact that everybody played to their capabilities. So all 10 players that we had in the team on Wednesday night played to their capability, and we know the one player who didn't play to his capability, but played to a higher standard than he normally does.
Correct.
I think that's what I took out of the game on Wednesday night was everybody had outstanding, not outstanding games. That's just the general level of of play that we expect of them. Kingsley was great, Halkett was great, Suter was great, even Atkinson, who's been hit by a few comments, not only in our group chat but also from social media and everyone else. I thought he had an all right game. I still don't think he's up to the pace of the Scottish football, because he wants maybe more than one or sometimes more than two touches to get himself steadied. But I thought everybody in the team performed on Wednesday night to the level that we expect of them, with the exception, as I say, of one individual. And we'll come on to him later on.
I think Atkinson I like, but I think you're right. There's a naiveness to him. I don't want to say he has to get a bit more street smart, but even in the build-up to the goal that Aberdeen get chopped off, that comes from him chasing the ball into the corner flag and then kind of just being too easily pushed off the ball. They launch it up the park, they get the free kick or whatever, and it was like, it's just being a bit smarter in that situation. I don't know what he was attempting to do. You either kick it off the boy and try for the corner, or hold it until he fouls you. And it didn't really do either. And he did a mad sort of wee forwardly roll somersaulty thing whilst he was on the ground. And it was like, get back up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you've lost the ball, get up, chase that down, because one long punt up the park in Scottish football and you can be in trouble. And we were lucky. Again, we're going to talk about it here, right? We were at the game. I felt that it was very, very soft, whatever the decision the referee saw was for the goal being chopped off. But there's a few things at play. We spoke about it before this as well. Gordon and everybody else quite clearly hears that the whistle has blown. Ellis Sims doesn't barely try to make a challenge, and Gordon doesn't even dive for the header. So yeah, it goes in, but if it was real time, no whistle, all that sort of stuff, I'm not 100% convinced that it would have been an Aberdeen goal anyway. But if you're a Hearts fan and that happens to you, you're probably angry. But we can talk about the goals as well. But the big talking point of that match was fucking that ridiculous dive for Ferguson.
Oh yeah, beauty. I'm glad we're bringing this up because you've
told us about your hatred for Ferguson, haven't you?
I have had issues with him for a while now, right? I don't know what it is. I think it's like, I don't claim to know the most about Scottish football, far from it. But for the last 18 months, 2 years, he has been winding me up every time I've seen him do it. This isn't the first time that he's done any of this sort of chat. The whole point of him trying to engineer a move out of Aberdeen as well doesn't sit well with me either. I think the guy is an absolute fucking pellet. He just is. He's not fit, and I said this in the group chat, but for the benefit of everyone else, he's not fit to lace his feathers boots or even his uncle's boots. Right? The guy's an absolute knob. And that's all I've got to say in the matter. It's been bubbling under for a wee while. He wound me up the last time we played Aberdeen at Tynecastle, but it's been a constant thing for the last 18 months, 2 years. Everything he does, it's crap. It's not what I like to see in a football player, and he's put himself right down in my estimation after that on Wednesday. Fuck him.
And you made your voice known?
Yep.
I think I did. Yes.
You certainly did, mate. You certainly did.
No.
The annoying thing, Tam, though, is every single person in the stadium knew that was a dive. How the referee is looking.
He's looking
right
right
at
at it. Like he's genuinely 5 yards away or something, isn't he?
Well, oh man, right. This is the thing. I don't want to be total like Sky Sports and be neutral about everything and all that sort of thing. But the referee, given his position, he's going to be looking. He's going to have one eye on what's happening there and one eye on what's happening in the box. It might just be the case for that absolute split second. He has maybe not seen it. And again, I'm not going to be the one that rallies around the SFA and says, like, let them off the hook with it or not. But the fault for me lies with Lewis Ferguson and not the referee, because if the referee does have one eye off it and comes back and sees Lewis Ferguson in midair pancaking himself on the ground, and he didn't see the actual contact because, again, for a split second, he's looking away. That's not the SFA or the referee's fault. That's Lewis Ferguson's fault for creating that situation and being the dirty diving bastard that he actually is. That's my point. Is that you can criticize the referee, but the referee is reacting to stimulus. It's Lewis Ferguson that's at fault here, and he should be taken to task for that for me.
I thought Robbie's comments after it were absolutely spot on.
100%.
I like that he absolutely pulled no punches. But this is, we can say it because we won 2-0. It didn't impact the outcome of the match or whatever. But it was Stephen McLean, wasn't it, was the ref?
Yep.
He was fucking shocking.
It was garbage.
He was
On
terrible.
both sides as well. It wasn't even
Aye.
like, it was just horrendous.
When you look at, I think the Aberdeen players probably touched the ball more with their hands than Joe Lewis. Like,
Fair.
there was a situation in the first half where I think GMS lobbed it over the boy who was slide tackling in, and the boy just did that, stopped it with both his hands. I don't even think we got a free kick, and he absolutely didn't get booked. There was at least 2 potential penalty shouts for the ball hitting them on the hand. It was just, he'd totally and utterly lost the rhythm of the game and was just absolutely shocking throughout. Kev, that wanker aside, Hearts played pretty well. You impressed again. Who impressed you the most probably in the match? Obviously, both our goals come from defenders, but I think Sims, Boyce, Mackay all had very, very good games, didn't they?
I think I think you struggle to actually separate from the performances of, let's say, that sort of top 4 or 5 players that we have. I thought Kingsley looked assured on the ball. I don't think he at any point came under any great deal of pressure. I thought Boyce had a great game. Thought Sims played well, but again, like I've said a number of times, without having Barry Mackay, then we lack that little bit of creativity. And as I say, and I'm going to give him credit, let's note this down in the calendar, but the actual ball in for the free kick, which is before Suter scored, the actual ball in from GMS is actually pinpoint. If it had
right on the Aberdeen player seat.
Aye,
you're right.
100%.
He was brilliant at it, man.
But I generally thought that was his highlight of the day. In fact, that could be the highlight of his whole year so far.
Tam, since this is your ballpark, is Barry Mackay knocking on the door of the national team?
Honestly, I think he is. I actually think he is. He must be in the sights. Even Kingsley and Halkett as well. They must be up there. Not as like starters, but as squad players. I reckon all 3 of them are in with a decent shout. Barry Mackay is he's the second highest assist in the league, I'm pretty sure as well, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, and just before we forget, Ando, you editing it, put that wind bit over that whole bit that he was just talking about Scotland. Just have that go all over the top of it.
You've set me right up there, hook, line, and
exactly,
sinker.
And you fall for it every time. You get a wee hard on because you're getting the opportunity to talk about Scotland and
wind over Tam's Scotland chat written down.
It's not going in the fucking video.
Right, actually, think I seen someone say the other day on Twitter that Stephen Kingsley had scored one career goal or something until he signed for Hearts. He's
Good.
second top goal.
Bollocks.
Now he's second top goal scorer.
I'm not buying that. They must. Well, without the facts at my command, I can't say that Stephen Kingsley. Nah, there's no way Kingsley's only scored one goal before he played for Hearts. Not a chance.
It's either
It
league.
is the case, actually.
Is that right?
One goal for Falkirk.
I knew, and they scored loads of goals. Like,
I mean, admittedly, he hasn't played a great deal of games for like
shut up,
for
Kev.
Swansea.
Stop being so pedantic.
Right, sorry. I was about to say, however,
Apologise.
he
It's a
had
sign of
scored-
weakness.
However, he had played 45 games for Hull and never scored. He's played 49 games for us and scored 9. So that was all I was going to say.
Oh,
They
yeah.
must have had a well good
He
like
scored 10.
free kick taker instead at these teams.
I
Kev.
don't think so at Hull. That's why they're languishing where they're languishing.
Kev,
Oh, languishing. Oh,
Big word for this time on a Sunday night.
Nice.
Oh, Kev, shut up, because he's scored 10 goals for us, not 9. He's technically scored 11, but 10 competitive goals for us. So, whatever you're reading is wrong.
Right, and he can make amends for the shit show that he had in the Scottish Cup final if we win the cup this year, which is good. So
Only if he scores the winning penalty, or
I mean, if he's just part of the winning team, it's fine.
you'll forgive him. Okay.
I'll forgive
Here,
him.
talk about that header, by the way. That
Belter, wasn't it?
nobody's saving that. Nobody's saving that. That's amazing. Like, aye,
It was
I don't know what else to say.
Aye, well, thanks, Tam. Thanks for your contribution. Absolute golden. That'll make your highlight reel for the season. But aye, you're right. It was a bullet header, and to be honest with you, like we've got such a big. I almost fell into the old Hibs trap by saying we're such a big physical team. That's not what I meant. But we've got, when you look at the height of like Kingsley and Suter and Halkett and Sims, we got to add. If we can add goals for corners, it's just another thing in the Arsenal into to get goals. So it was good seeing. It was an absolute bullet header, and it generated the best picture of the night, which was Christian Ramirez with his fucking head between his legs trying to kiss his own arse because big Stephen Kingsley bent him over. It was absolutely beautiful.
Imagine how you would have been if that was like Sims or something. Oh, just imagine the outrage on Twitter from you. I'm just like.
I don't even know
excited thinking about it.
I don't even know what you're trying to talk. I don't even know what you're trying to talk about. Oh, as if it was Sims that did that. If it was Sims that was doing that. All right, okay. I thought you said if it was Sims that bent him over. And I was like, where are we going here?
Wow.
Where are we going with
set
this?
up an Only Tams channel for that shit.
It's Only Tams chat. Aye, no. If I'd seen any Hearts player doing that, I'd be absolutely apoplectic with rage. There we go. Another big word for a Sunday night. Right, and then let's talk about. There was nothing else to talk about in terms of Wednesday. We absolutely battered Aberdeen, as we should have done all season long. They are a pathetic little side who can fucking look forward to the bottom six and potential playing in the Championship playoffs because they're fucking dog meat. Right.
Watch it in 2 weeks' time, they'll be fourth again.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that once we go through here. Obviously, we've spoken bits here about the game yesterday already, the crazy situation that we had with the subs. 5 subs used, 3 subs in 7 minutes. But the positives, if you want to look at it from the game yesterday, was the opening 30 minutes were absolutely sensational. We absolutely battered Dundee United for 30 minutes. Boyce's goal's an absolute belter. And then obviously all hell breaks loose with just everybody dropping like flies, and to be honest with you can't really complain with their equaliser, although Craig Gordon, and anybody can tell me whatever you want, if that goal or that shot is taken 3 or 4 minutes later, Craig Gordon saves it. I think it's coming out for half time, straight for kick-off, maybe not 100% setting his goals and where he is and into the rhythm of the game and all that sort of stuff. I think when you watch it back, and because he's so good, and we know how good a goalkeeper he is, you could probably say maybe could have did a bit better. But it is a brilliant strike, and I actually thought he played really well in the midfield. That Liam Smith, obviously used to be Hearts, but played very, very well. It's an absolute Stonewall penalty. I think John Souttar's didn't know we need a shite or a haircut. And again, Gordon's no that far away from getting a hand to it. But the one thing that we've said all season long, and all right, during the wee dip, it wasn't really evident or whatever, but to come back and get the equaliser, to be honest with you, just kind of shows you everything that we like about this Hearts side right now. They've got character, bottle, as they like to say, and it was great, as you said, to see Halkett get the equaliser, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
100%. 100%. He also it looked like he wanted to win that one as much as Kingsley wanted to win the header for the game for the goal against Aberdeen. Halkett looked like he was determined to get his head to that cross in that corner from Barry Mackay. So yeah, great to see him put one in the back of the net again.
I also like the run and get the ball and get centre. Like, they weren't happy with the let's settle for a point type thing, which I liked. But come the end of it, you've made 5 substitutions, all of them enforced by injury, none of them to change shape or try to affect the game. You take the point and you go back down the road and focus on the cup on Saturday, which is what we're going to talk about now, unless there's anything in the game yesterday that caught your attention that you wanted to speak about.
Was there more injuries at full time or something? Did I see that?
Someone said
Ginelli went down.
Aye.
Ginelli went down and was asking for the physio to come on. He couldn't actually even get up. He was asking for the physio at the end of the game. But again, not heard anything to say that he's got any particular issue or problem that would keep him out for Saturday night.
No, it's quite
playing with like the under-18s on Saturday now.
It's still quite early. Let's be honest. It's Sunday night. The game happened like only slightly over 24 hours ago. So they're not going to know the full extent. They're probably going to have to send them for scans or whatever, like if there's any potential serious damage on Monday. So we'll know more in the coming days. But let's no fucking start manning the lifeboats just yet.
Actually, with Mark McNulty, he was a cock. He should have got probably. was lucky that he didn't get more than a booking for his clattering into Craig Gordon, wasn't he?
Random. I wasn't expecting that to come out your mouth next, but I wholeheartedly agree.
Yep, wee mink. Anyway, let's move on. Right, Saturday.
He's got a habit of that against Hearts, hasn't he? You know, stamping somebody or something.
Aye, Sean Clare.
Sean Clare.
Yep.
Next game now, cup quarter final, under the lights. Saturday, 7:45 kick-off. How fucking wrecked is Tynecastle going to be? It's got to be brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, I'll not even see the game. And if Kev was in any state on Wednesday night, Saturday is just going to be worse because he'll be able to get away with a whole lot more. Kev was a disgrace on Wednesday. Even his brother fucking ran away and left him. Yeah, you know that's true.
Well, we're going to be in the pub for about 3 o'clock or something Saturday.
I'll arrive there for probably about that time. So, yep. If I'm there first, I'll put the flag on the table. That'll be us.
Cool. Good. Right, we'll just quickly go around. We'll do predictions, but give us your starting 11 as well, and who would you like to see? Kev, start with you.
Starting 11, well, of course, it'll all be dependent in regards to injuries from yesterday's game, but I would quite happily start with the same starting 11 from yesterday, which is, I think, was the same starting 11 from Wednesday night. So for that point of view, I would quite happy with that. There's maybe one change I would make, and that would be GMS to drop and Halliday to come in, just for a wee bit. And I noticed the eyebrow go up there, and I'll explain. But I just think, just from a bit of point of actually having a wee bit more steel, in regards to just getting a few tackles in, getting actually in about it. So I would maybe look at that as an option. But it's not I'd be quite happy if it was the same starting 11 from yesterday's game. Of course, that is going to be injuries dependent, of course.
Yep, right. Give your what's the score going to be?
2-0.
Hearts?
Yes.
Good. Right. Ando, yourself?
I'm not buying into Kev's chat about taking GMS out and putting Halliday in. I think we played well from what I could determine from the highlights on BBC yesterday, plus what you guys were saying who watched the actual full 90 minutes, I thought against Aberdeen, they didn't even come close to even laying a glove on us, bar that whole false penalty scenario. Then I think St Mirren they've got less in the tank. They offer less for me than Aberdeen do. I keep the same team that started against Aberdeen, if that's possible, injuries notwithstanding.
And score?
Hey, I don't think we'll be faultless. I'm gonna say Hearts 3-1. There'll be a goal shipped somewhere. 3-1.
Nice. Thomas?
Same again, really. Just same team as Aberdeen, if it's possible. Wouldn't really change much, to be honest. And prediction, I think 2-0 as well. Same as Kev. What I hope happens is it goes to extra time, penalties, and Ando's stranded in Edinburgh for the night because he can't.
I'm overnighting anyway, mate. It's
fuck.
Is it not straight to penalties now?
It is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Straight to penalties with a draw now.
Big teams get a favour. So for rounds 1 and 2, all the wee diddy teams had to like the teams that can't afford it, incidentally, who had to travel the length and breadth of the country have to hire another bus to go to wherever the fuck they're playing. But when the big teams get involved, it's settled on the night now.
Brilliant. So with that in mind, penalty shootout. Nah.
I don't think I can handle another one of them.
That Livy game was bad enough, man. I don't want that.
Talking of, because we spoke about him earlier, Simon McCluskey, I'll never forget the fact that he stormed out at the Gretna Cup final. And he sat in the bus, missed the penalties and missed his win in the cup because he was so angry that Hearts couldn't beat Gretna in 90 minutes, which was class. The bitterness that I love. Absolute brilliant.
To an extent, you agree with him, though.
Yeah, 100%.
I absolutely agree with him, but you agree with him while shouting like fuck at the team while you're still watching them. You don't go away and
boo like hell.
Finish your packed lunch on the bus, man. Stay there and see it.
Saturday, I'm the same. I think we'll injuries dependent. I think we'll see a very similar team. I think we'll probably see Sibic or potentially Haring drop into the back because I don't think John Souttar will be risked. I think from everything that I've heard, he was in crutches when he went onto the team bus after the game yesterday, so probably won't see John Souttar. Everybody else think will be fine. Agree with others. I actually think it'll probably be more nervy than Aberdeen. I hope that we just play with the tempo or whatever and sort of get in and around them. I'm going to say 2-1 to Hearts would be my prediction for the cup. So we're all going to Hampden, is what we've all predicted.
Absolutely.
It's going to end in tears, isn't it? Wait till Sunday. We're going to be all in tears. It'll be back to episode 79. I've got all my stats ready.
Telling you now, I'm not going with Shanks. For anybody that's listening and you want to know who Shanks was, he was a former show host. Not been on for a long time. Probably will never be back again. But the last couple of times I've been to Hampden, I've been sat within range of him, and it's not worked out well. So if we do make it to the semis, I am absolutely not sitting anywhere near Shanks, and I would implore you guys to do the same.
I'll be nowhere near Shanks' semi, so just let's hang away at that. Right, that's pretty much everything that we need to talk about it. We get 3 games until the split. What are we, 13 points clear currently?
Yes, as it stands, yep.
So where do we say if we track how we're tracking now, it'll be 4 games left before it becomes mathematically impossible for anybody to catch us.
Yeah, but you could really say it's probably an extra point given the goal difference. The nearest goal difference is -2, which is Hibs, and we're on +11. So that in and of itself is an extra point. So read that how you will.
Exactly. Cool. Right. I'll see you on Saturday. Very drunk, very angry, very smashing up the plaza.
Can't wait.
Right, boys. I'll see you later.
All the best.
Go and get out.